Years ago, the gap year was a rite of passage. Did you take a gap year? What about your kids? 133693. For many, you'd finish high school, travel around the world, maybe get a job in the UK, working at a cafe or a pub, then come home, then you'd start university. Now, it seems this generation simply wants to finish high school, go straight into uni. 133693. I was talking with Lavinia Nixon earlier this afternoon. Both of us agreed probably a regret not taking the gap year. All the freedom in the world very quickly disappears. 133693. If you took a gap year, I'd love to hear from you. Why did you do it? What did you do? And do you think kids today should be taking that gap year, especially that after they finish the stresses of Year 12? Joining me on the line now is career expert Sue Ellson. Sue, good afternoon.
Hi, Shane.
Should we be taking a gap year? Should kids be taking a gap year after Year 12?
Well, it really depends on the individual person, really, and whether that's what they have in mind. The average of the people who do take it is somewhere between 3 and 14% of people, and most of the people who apparently take that gap year break are from regional and remote areas coming into the big smoke of Australian cities. But, yeah, I would say it depends on the individual and where they see themselves going. And I can understand why Jen said want to go straight to uni and get it over and done with, because then they travel through uni with that same age cohort and possibly some of their friends as well.
So one of the great things is kind of advertised during that gap year is that you've gone through 18 years of schooling. For many, they haven't had that opportunity to have their eyes open about what is outside their own backyard, especially travelling overseas. Does it have benefits that you are more worldly when you come back and therefore study at uni and go into the workforce, that you have this more global perspective as opposed to just going straight into university?
Yeah, well, they definitely say that the people who do it mostly do it to gain their own independence in that sense of identity and get additional cultural perspectives and so on. But if you're thinking about it in terms of going into work when you get back, employers will honestly value if you can sort of say, look, as a result of spending my time in whatever country, I got these skills out of it and I can transfer them into the role. There is some data that suggests that some of the people who take a gap year find it harder to adjust back into the study cycle and may or may not complete their studies. So, you know, there is that risk, I suppose. But again, that's where it really goes back to the individual. And a lot of people do spend that time working, and believe it or not, only about 20% of the funds come from mum and dad. So, yeah, people have to prepare for that, managing the finances as well.
What about an adult gap year, Sue? I've heard this happening a lot where people in their career, you know, you build up long service leave. You go, you know what, we're going to take the family overseas for a year. We've got long service leave to cover us for 6 months, take 6 months without pay. Is that a risky manoeuvre when there might be other people trying to siphon in and get that job that you've held for so long? Or is it also an opportunity to fresh up and go into the second phase of your work life, if you like?
Yeah. Well, as I've dealt with a lot of people who've moved countries, I would say if you can do it before your children become teenagers, it will be a lot less disruptive to your family than if you try and do that when they're a bit older. But also, we don't have to take a whole year. Why not take 3 months? There's plenty of people who take those long service leave breaks and do it in that time frame. But also, like, I take 1 day sabbaticals and I just hop on the train, go up to Bendigo, spend the day there and come back. And even that makes, you know, a huge difference. It's just like a little reset for me. And my career started 6 days after my last Year 12 exam, and I went into full-time work and part-time study. So, you know, there's plenty of different options that people can choose. And, you know, if you have these opportunities come up and you're part of a family group, I would definitely suggest you talk to all members of the family and make sure that you're all on board. But yeah, we hear of lots of Australians who do their lap of Australia, and you know how much they've enjoyed it, and then those children want to do it for their kids and so on. So yeah, I'm all up for it, and not waiting until you're you know, our age before you start those timeouts on long extended trips. Yeah.
Sue Ellson, career expert. Appreciate your time this afternoon. 133693. Did you take a gap year? Would